Welcome to Science Made Easy channel. A channel you will not want to miss.
Good day, my people. This is Science Made Easy channel. Thank you, Lord. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. As you are enjoying our videos, our motivations is also that you subscribe. So today, I will be explaining to us how we can join elements together to form a compound. I will explain to us how you can join elements together to form a compound. Now, the last video that was uploaded on the YouTube, we talk about how we talk about the ions on each element. So once you know the ions on each element, you can be able to form a compound with those elements. Let me give you an example. Now, normally, when we are talking about ions, let me first define what we mean by ions. Ions are atoms or group of atoms that possesses an electric charge. So whenever I say any atom that possesses an electric charge or group of atoms that possesses an electric charge, that is what we call ions. So we have cations. So what are the cations? Cations are positive ions. Cations are positive ions. But we also have the anions. Anions are negative ions. And we also have what we call the radical. What are radicals? Radicals are a group of atoms that possesses an electric charge. That means we have some group of atoms. That means when we have more than one atom combining together having a charge, whether a positive or a negative charge, they are called radicals. What are the examples of those radicals? Examples are SO42 minus. This is a radical. OH minus is a radical. NO3 minus is a radical. SO32 minus is a radical. CO32 minus is a radical. MnO4 minus is a radical. NH4 plus is a radical. Cr2O72 minus is a radical. We have a lot of radicals, even we still have PO43 minus. We have a lot of them that cannot even be listed here. So we have to know each radicals one by one. Whenever we want to form or combine one or two elements together to form a compound. So these are radicals. So let us now establish, I've told you the last video how you can use an element to form an ion. Let's now see how you can combine two of elements together to form what? To form a compound. So the example of the cations, which are the positive ions, we talked about it last time. We have the sodium Na plus is a cation, Mg2 plus is a cation, Ca2 plus is a cation, we have Al3 plus is a cation, we have K plus is a cation, H plus is a cation, and so on. And the example of the anions, that means the negative ions, we have our Cl minus, we have our O2 minus, we have our N3 minus, we have our F minus, we have our Br minus, we have our, and so on and so forth. We have a lot of anions. Anions are negative ions. So once we can know all these ions, then we can go to combining those elements together to form a compound. Let me give us an example. For example, if sodium and let me talk about and sulfur will combine together. Normally, sodium and sulfur, if they will combine together, what is the charge on sodium? We talked about it last time. As soon as you can get your charge in the last video. So if you have not watched the last video, go and watch it. That is why I told you how you can get your charge. The charge on sodium is plus 1. The charge on sulfur is 2 minus. Then once you have known their charge, then you can form a compound. How? None of writing their charge on the under. Just write this is sodium is +1. So none of writing plus, just write 1. Sulfur is -2. None of writing is -2. Just write 2. Then cross multiply. Na times 2. Na2. S times 1. S. So that is how we form this compound. Let me give you another example. If you want to combine, let me use an example of want to combine an element and a radical together. Example of a radical, let me give you NO3. I give you this one part as part of the radical. NO3 minus is part of the radical. That means the group of atoms that possesses an electric charge. So what is the charge of sodium? Plus. Now, plus, I told I know the right to be charged under. Just write the number, no the right to be charged. N is +1. That means 1. NO3 is -1. 1. Cross multiply. Na times 1. Na. NO3 times 1. NO3. That is how this compound is formed. So let me write another example. Let me talk about hydrogen and PO4 3-. Normally, what is the charge on hydrogen? It is +1. So the charge on the substance on hydrogen is 1, PO4 is 3. Combine them together, we have H3PO4. So that is how we form compounds. Where we form compound is chemistry. Let me give us another example so that we can see a lot of examples and we can be able to establish what I'm talking about. Let's talk about sodium and SO4. SO4 is a radical. The charge is 2 minus. Na is plus 1, 2. Cross multiply. We have what? Na2SO4. So here we have Na2SO4. That is how all this compound is formed. So the last thing I'm talking about in this video is how to name all these compounds, how to know their names. And if you want to know their names, I will explain how you can know their names now. Which might be the last thing I will be talking about in this video. Now, let's name some compound. There are some compounds that if you have just one 2 elements together, we just write them as. Now, let me first talk about this. When I see chlorine in a compound, it's called chloride. When I see iodine, fluorine, it's called fluoride. When I see sulfur, it's called sulfate. When I see chlorine, okay? And one thing is that if chlorine is just attached to just a metal, I have shown you also how you can know metal. So it's just attached to a metal or just one single element is chloride. But once chlorine is attached to more than one single element, if chlorine is attached to more than one single element, it's not called chloride, it's called chlorate. But if it's attached to just ordinary one element, it's chloride. But if it's more than one element, it's chlorate. Same thing for fluorine. More than one element is called fluorate. So we also have whenever I see OH is called hydroxide. OH is radical, but the name of the radical is hydroxide. Whenever I see we also have nitrogen. Nitrogen is called nitrate. If you see manganese, manganese is called manganate. If you see chromium, chromium is called chromate. If you see what again? Phosphorus. Phosphorus is called phosphate. We have them like this. And when I see oxygen in a compound, it's called oxo. Oxygen is called oxo. Oxygen is called oxo. And we have different of them like that. So as we are moving through, we still be mentioning some, so that for better understanding, just know that if you have anything like this, this is what they call. This is what they are called. This is what they are called. So as we are naming all those compounds, we will be talking about them. So after establishing this, The next thing we have to know in naming organic compound, naming is not organic compound, naming compound is we have to know oxidation number. But before that, let me give us some example of elements to name. So if I give you something like this, NaCl, since chlorine is attached to just only one element, I told you that it's called what? Chloride. So what name of this compound now? Na is what? Sodium. This chlorine is attached to only one element. It's called what? Chloride. So if I write we have what? Sodium what? Chloride. If now something like this now, if you have more than one element attached, if you have an element attached to a what? To a radical. If you have an element attached to a radical, this is how we name them. You first name the cation there. What is the cation in this compound? We have Na plus and SO2 minus. That is all combined together to form Na2SO4. You first name this cation, you want to have positive ion. Before you start naming the radical. We name radical from the back. We usually name radical from the back. We usually name radical from the back. Before name the cation there. Why is the cation here? Na is what? Sodium. Then you go and name the cation. You then go and name the radical. The radical there is what? SO4. You name it from the back. Another thing to know in naming compound is that 2, whenever you have 2 means die. 3 means tri. 4 means tetra. 5 means penta. 6 means hexa. And so on. So here in the radical, I told you that we start naming the radical from the back. So in the radical here, how many oxygen is there? What is there in this radical? 4. So when we have 4, 4 means what? Tetra. So you now say tetra. I want to tell you something that whenever I see oxygen in a compound, it's called oxo. You now write oxo. I want to tell you that whenever I see sulfur, sulfur means what? Sulfate. Sulfate. The next is what? You have to put a number here. Then how we know the number that we put here is looking for oxidation number of the last element. What is the last element here? Sulfate, which is sulfur. Then how can we get the oxidation number of the sulfur? This is it. What is the ion on sodium? We have established that in the last class. Then I tell you that whenever, if you have not watched the last video, go and watch it. That is what will guide you into this video. Without understanding the last video, you might find it difficult to understand what you are doing now. Now, what is the charge of sodium here? +1. We established that last week. And Na plus. That means +1. Plus, you are looking for sulfur. Plus. How many oxygen do you have here? We have 4 oxygen. That means 4 times. What is the charge of oxygen? Once I established that last week, O2 minus. The charge is what? -2. You make everything equal to 0. Then we now say 2 times 1, 2 plus sulfur, S plus 4 times -2, -8 equal to 0. Then we now have S plus 2 -8 equal to 0. S minus 6 equal to 0. S equal to what? +6. So the oxidation number of sulfur here is +6. So what we write here? 6. Then how we write the 6? We write it in the Roman numeral. So it will be what? Vi. So the name of this compound is now what? Sodium tetra oxo sulfate 6. Let me use another example for better understanding. If I write NaOH, I told you that whenever you see OH in a compound, it's called hydroxide. It's one of those things that I write for you the other time. And Na is what? Sodium. So the name is not without what? Sodium hydroxide. That is the name of that one. sodium and hydroxide form what? Sodium hydroxide. If now Na2CO3, what would that be the name? Let's check. If I know that you can do it even without me telling you to no, without me doing this for you. At least with these 3 examples I did, you can able to solve this one. But let me tell you the answer. First thing, I told you that what are the something that come together to form this compound? Na and what? CO3. Na and CO3. That is what comes together to form this compound. So the first name be what? The positive ion, which is what? Sodium. And I told you that CO3 is a radical. You start naming radical from the back. What is the last number in this back? 3. I tell you that 3 means what? Tri. So we have what? Tri. O means what? Oxo. Oxo. C means what? Carbonate. Then you find the oxidation number. Yeah, let's find the oxidation number. Let's see what we get from there. So the oxidation number what? What is the last number here? Carbonate, which is carbon. So that means 2 bracket plus 1 plus carbon plus 3 bracket minus 2 equal to 0. Then we have what? 2 times 1, 2 plus carbon minus 6 equal to 0. Then we have C plus 2 minus 6 equal to 0. Then C minus 4 equal to 0. C is equal to what? Plus 4. So what will be here? 4. And in Roman what? In Roman numeral. Then we have what? 4. You all have the name. Sodium, trioxo, carbonate, 4. So that's how we get that. But chemistry is another language on its own. You started hearing something that you have not been here before. That is chemistry. So, like you want to start learning another language. That is when you're talking about chemistry. You are trying to learn another language. So chemistry is another language on its own. It's even, chemistry is more simpler than Yoruba. Now, let's see another question like that. If you have something like this, NaHSO4. Now, what is it that comes together to form this? We have to first write them out. Na plus and what? H plus and what? SO4 2 minus. SO4 is a radical. That means we have this. So if we have this, then you have to first name the one that have positive ions. You have to first name them first. Then we have sodium. H is what? Hydrogen. Hydrogen. Then go to the back. Tetra, oxo, sulfate. Then you have to look for the oxidation number of sulfate. Then now we have sodium is what? Plus 1. Hydrogen is what? Plus 1. Plus S plus 4 brackets. Oxygen is minus 2 equal to 0. Then S plus 2 minus 8 equal to 0. S minus 6 equal to 0. S equal to plus 6. So that means what will that be here? Sulfate 6. Let's try this one. NH4. I forgot to tell you this. NH4. The name of NH4 is what? Ammonium. Whenever I say NH4 in a compound, NH4 means ammonium. I forget to tell you that. So now, if you have NH4, CO3, NO bracket 2CO3, that is the compound. So in this case, you know how we get this compound now? I've told you before. We have NH4 plus, then CO3 is what? CO3 2 minus. That means here we have 2 radicals coming together. What is the charge on this one? Plus 1. That is 1. CO3 2 minus means what? 2. They bring them together. NH4 bracket 2 CO3. So that's how they get the compound. So just to go back to that one. So even now to name this compound, what are the things that come together to form this compound? I told you that that is the first thing that you first write out. You have ammonium, you also have what? CO3. Those are the things that come together to form this compound. So what would that be the name? The first thing the ammonium, the positive ion. The first thing the positive ion, which is what? Ammonium. Then I think that All those radicals that I don't give you the name. The only radical I give you the name is NH4 and OH. I told you that O is a hydroxide, NH4 is what? Ammonium. Except those ones. Other radicals, you name them from the back. So, name this one from the back. 3 is what? Tri. Also, 6 carbonate. Carbonate. Then, if you for the oxidation number, the oxidation number is 4. 4. No, not really in the dark. Let me look for the oxidation number for you. NH4. What is charge on NH4? Plus 1. That is 2 times. How many NH4 do you have there? Plus 1. How many? We have 2. 2 NH4 here. And NH4 is what? Plus 1. Plus 1. Plus 2. And 4 carbon. Plus 3 brackets what? Minus 2. Equal to 0. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus carbon minus 6 equal to 0. C plus 2 minus 6 equal to 0. Then we have C minus 4 equal to 0. C is equal to 4. That means its carbon is what? 4. So I know that at least with these short things, you can be able to name any compound whatsoever. Lastly, let me just give you just 2 examples more, then we are done for today. When we have something like this, FES, let us buttress this. Now, there are some compound, or normally, there are some compound, if you like, I write iron sulfide. But if you want to write the full name, you have to get the oxidation number of this ion in the front. So what will the oxidation of iron in the front? Fe plus. What is the oxidation number of sulfur? Minus 2 equal to 0. Fe is equal to 2 plus 2. So if you normally want to name it, if you want to name it normally, you can say that iron sulfide. Whether it's sulfur, it's a compound. It's called sulfide. Sulfur is called sulfur. Whenever sulfur is combined. Now I told you that whenever sulfur is combined with more than one element, we call it sulfate. But whenever sulfur is combined with just only one element, it's called sulfide. The same thing for chlorine. I told you that whenever chlorine is combined with more than one element, it's called chlorate. Whenever fluorine is combined with more than one element, it's called fluorate. Same thing for sulfur also. When sulfur is combined with more than one element, it's called sulfate. But when sulfur is combined with just only one element, like iron and S now, it's called sulfide. If I like, I can just write iron sulfide. But if I have to write it in full, I have to write iron. The oxidation of iron is what? 2 sulfide. But that one is not compulsory. So I know with these just few things, you can be able to write the names of different organic, not organic compounds, different compounds. All these ones are inorganic compounds, different compounds. So in the question time, I will give you more questions to solve under the words, the naming of inorganic compounds. So thank you. See you next time. Try and subscribe. Subscribe for you to see more of our videos. Thank you so much. Bye.